Welcome guys, today we'll be learning how to make this 3-part corset that you see on the thumbnail. Now this pattern is from our last tutorial on how to draft a basic block, so we'll be using this pattern for the alteration. So let's get started. So guys, the under bust from the dart line, yes, the middle dart line, I'm going to be marking 1 inch on both sides. That is, I'm using 1 inch for our dart. So from the under bust I mark 1 inch on both sides. Then I'm going to, from the shoulder dart point, I'm just rolling a straight line to connect it to the breast point. Then I take my curve rule and I connect from that 1 inch to the breast point. I did that for the second side, so the total intake of both darts will be 2 inches. Then I'm going to connect it to the dart leg on the waistline. For those of you that have not watched this tutorial, it is a last video I dropped, I think 2 days or 1 day ago, or I will drop the link in the comment section for you guys to watch it. Now to get the blouse length for the side seam, I went down by 3 inches. Then for the length for the center front, I went down by 5 inches. Now this 5 inches, it depends on the length you want. If you notice your client or yourself, you have this down tummy they call fupa, you can go down by 6 inches. So you can snatch it very well. But if you don't have much tummy, 4 inches, 4.5 is okay. Now guys, we're going to be tightening this down part by 0.25 on both sides. You're going to tighten it, then you connect it to the dart leg on the waistline. So you connect it to the waist. That tightening is to prevent any gaping on your blouse length area. Is going to be firm. So guys, for the neck depth, where we want the corset to get to, now this corset covers the bust, it doesn't expose the bust, so I mark 7 inches from the shoulder point. Then I just roll that line because we are going to be tightening the over bust. Or just go up from your breast point by 4 inches or 4.5. In order for you to start forming the cup, from the neck depth, just go down by 6 inches or 6.5. Or you go up from your breast point by 2 inches or 1.5 inches. So you're going to connect from that point to the other point. So guys, let's close the dart and cut off this paper before we continue. Now from the waistline, you're going to fold one dart under the other darts, and you fold this other darts also, this hemline, so you can shape it properly, because when you fold it gets short already. So I cut it off and I also cut, then I open the center dart so I can close my shoulder dart. You have to open a dart before you can close another dart. So that is what I did. Now I'm able to close the shoulder dart properly because we just want to get our curve for our neck. So you're going to connect from the 6 inches to that 7 inches. Then you connect the other side into the armhole. You can see how I place my curve ruler. So just place yours like that and you connect. So we have the shape for our over bust. Now you can now open it back. So we'll be tightening it now. To tighten it guys, I mark 0.75 towards the side front, then ½ inch towards the side seam. So we're going to be connecting both to the breast points. So you take your ruler, use a curve ruler, or you can use your free hand. Then then you connect it to the breast point. You take the other side and you connect. Then you close from one dart to the other dart, so you can still shape your overbust properly. So just watch what I do. After closing it, you're going to take your curve ruler and you blend it up properly. You're going to blend it properly. So this is me just cancelling the one I don't want, so I don't get to cut it. Then once you are done, you are going to open it back. Then guys, yeah, on that part we are supposed to mark 1/2 inch there. That is the space apart between both cup. So 1/2 inch is what you mark. Some people do 0.75, some do 1/2. Now you are going to connect it back to your dart. This time around I use a thicker marker so you guys can see it. Then to form our cup, I place the curve rule from the under bust to that 1/2 inch. Now from the side seam, to form the side seam cup, we already have our seam allowance on this pattern, so apart from the seam allowance, I came in by 1.5 inch. On the breast point I also do that. Then I place the ruler, the curve ruler, from the under bust, joining everything together, yeah, and I curve it, so we have the curve for both cup ready. So since this is a 3-part corset, from that part, yeah, just the way you see my tape, I mark 2.5. On the center I mark 3 inches. On the other side I mark 2.5. So we'll be connecting 3 points, the 3 points together. Like that and like that. So this part also depends on you, how many inches you want it to be. It depends on you. Now I went ahead to write center front 1, center front 2, center front 2, yeah. Then this one side front, I think, yeah, side front 1, then side front 2. You have to label your patterns so you know them when you are sewing. Guys, I dropped it. Let's continue with the back. Later we'll go back to the front. Now on the waistline I went in by 0.75. that is just to give our back, to avoid any bulge. Now if you are using a zip for this tutorial, you'll do this as well. So you connect it to the nape of your neck, to where your neck depth is starting from. Then you also connect to your hip. After that, guys, now from the armhole I went down by 1/2 inch because I wanted to have a little bit of ease. I'm going to do that on the front too later. Then the depth, I used 10 inches from the nape of the neck. Then I connected it to that 1/2 inch. So that is our back depth, neck depth. So guys, I went ahead to extend the dart line all the way to the neck depth, yeah. Then from there, now I want this back to be three parts. So I mark 1.5 from that point. Then I'm shaping it with 0.25 on both sides, because any panel you are doing, you have to shape it. So I mark that 1.5 all the way to the end. Then the 0.25 on both sides, I connected it just the way you see me doing, like that. Then I just check the length of the dart leg, and I also repeat the length there. Then I connected both darts to it. I think it was 2 inches I did, not 1.5. Yeah, 2 inches. So now we have 3 panels for the back. So I marked 3 inches on that point where the seam, where our side will stop. Then the other side at the back, I mark the same thing as the front. I mark, I think 4.5 or 5. It depends on you, though, what you want. So I went ahead to connect it to the 3 inches on the side seam. Then you just blend it up into the seam allowance. So guys, for our lacing, from the dart I mark 1.5. The upper part I also mark 1.5. Then the down part I also mark 1.5. That is what we are going to be cutting off, because we are using lacing for this corset blouse. And I connected the 3 lines together, so that is off. Then this is center back 1, center back 2, center back 3. Then I also use my arrow to indicate that those parts are the ones that are up, because sometimes they may look alike, so you just have to label your pattern. So guys, like I said, the 1/2 inch I went down from the armhole. I'm also going to be doing that on the front. So whatever you do for your front, anything that connects both patterns together, you have to do it for your back. Then I blend it into the cup. Now you can decide to use your curve ruler and start from the dart line up there and blend it into that 1/2 inch. I hope you understand what I mean. If you don't want to do it like this. So I drop the front pattern back, and I'm going to be cutting this back now. So let's remove all our darts. So you cut the neckline, then you cut off that part, we don't need it. You're cutting off the length. Now we are removing the darts. You remove the other darts. So we have 3 panels for the back. Now having 3 panels for the back actually depends on you. You can choose to just have 2. So this is the center front. Now how I want the boning to be inside, I'm just going to be marking the boning channel. So those lines is how I would put the boning inside. So let's go ahead and cut off the front pattern. So I am removing the darts also. Then we're going to cut the neck. So we are cutting off our center front, cutting the side, then removing the darts on the cup, then also removing the 3 parts. So if you don't want to remove the 3 parts, if you don't want to do a 3-part corset, 2 parts is okay for you. You can use this pattern as well. It's just difference is just that we demarcate it. So I close the upper part because we want it in one piece. So this is our 3 parts. Now this is me joining them, and I'm going to be marking so that I will not cheat on the cups. So when I'm joining, I know that all my cups are joined properly. I don't want to have any shortage. So we have the front ready as well. I'm just going to be arranging it, and we have the back. So guys, this is going to be the end of this tutorial. Give me a like if you enjoyed this tutorial. Watch out for the sewing part. It is very important, like I always say. And this is a corset blouse. You wear it and you wear your skirt on top. Thank you guys. Bye.